It's rare to find someone who naturally vibes with your energy and mindset. If you don't know what a kindred spirit is, they share the same interests and perspectives as you. We meet different people every day, not all of whom share common mindsets with us. In fact, most of the people we cross paths with share a different perspective than us, which is what also spikes our curiosity and interest in developing friendships and connections. Your kindred spirit understands you in ways nobody else can. Because of your mutual mindset and perspective on things, it's only natural you'll connect in a way unlike others. A kindred spirit is a person people aspire to find their whole lives just because of the distinctive, unique connection it provides. Since you share similar views and outlook, they will understand you in ways others won't. You resonate with the same frequency as the kindred spirit, which is why it makes such a powerful connection. You'll naturally feel at peace whenever you're with them. You could be having the worst day, but being around your kindred spirit makes you feel safe and calm. They make you feel understood and have that sense of relief from negativity. A kindred spirit means that you share so much more with them than the average person. In fact, you share almost everything in common, as if they represent the other half of your soul. Your kindred soul shares your humor, energy, mindset, and everything else about you, even your interests and beliefs. Whenever you're with your kindred spirit, you learn so much about yourself than you ever thought possible. Your kindred spirit is like looking into the mirror version of yourself, making you gain another perspective on yourself. While we meet several people that have similar views with us, it's different when you see things the same way. You may realize that this person shares your precise and exact points of view in a way nobody else has, since they're your kindred spirit. This can be seen as either a positive or a negative thing, depending on the person, and you can tell what your kindred spirit thinks or feels, especially since you share almost everything in common. Most likely, you have the same emotions, which would mean you either understand why they feel that way, or that you also feel that way that they do. As soon as you meet them, it feels like you've known them for a long time. You feel the instant connection, like your soul recognizes them immediately, without any effort. It feels extremely familiar and comfortable, talking to them even when you haven't talked to them before. They know exactly how to support you and how to back you up when it counts, since they know where you're coming from. You can always count on them to be by your side whenever you need them, especially on your darkest and most difficult days. If you've already crossed paths with your kindred spirit, you can feel the circumstances they need you the most. They don't have to tell you verbally, but you can already tell with your kindred spirit, instinctual. And nobody else can motivate you like your kindred spirit does, since they know exactly how to do that. They probably experienced a similar situation like you did, which is exactly why they're the best person to push you and help you move forward. They feel like a best friend and a partner all in one person. This means that you naturally bring out the best in one another with your similar perspectives and morals in life. Nobody else brings out the best potential as your kindred spirit will. There are many different types of kindred spirits. They can be a family member, a sister, a brother, a good friend, a guide, an angelic being. Every kindred spirit connects with you personally and connects in a way that makes you feel supported because they understand you completely and totally. Even when you aren't physically together, you feel them with you everywhere. Even when they're on the other side of the world, they're with you. The connection is raw and deep that way. It isn't just because of the similarity, but it's the intimacy, the friendship, and the strength of the bond you feel whenever you're together. You always have this connection, whether together or apart. You can spend an entire day with them and you'll still miss them afterward. This is because of that unique bond you don't share with anyone else. Most likely, even they're nearby, you'd still miss them the minute you aren't together. And finally, when you find the person that almost has everything in common with you, expect a powerful bond you can't run away from. Even if it can be overwhelming at times, they'll also understand you in ways nobody has done before. They make you into a much better person than you realize, which is why you feel good when you are around them. Awesome. Welcome to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway, your channel for community support, help, friendship, love, knowledge, and just plain being of value to others. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, it's good to have you with us. If you're returning, thank you so much. And you know what it means tonight. It's Friday night and it's time to feed your mind and grow your heart. And tonight's topic is Kindred Spirit Connections. I'd like to welcome Teresa D'Anton, Grandpa Brian, and Dalibor Suki to the panel tonight. Thanks for being with us. Really appreciate that. And really quick, I'd like to go ahead and just acknowledge chat real quick. Michaela, good to see you. Sweet sister. Scotty boy, Nanu, smoking in G sharp. Stay frosty. Dolly Belfour. Hello, Dolly. Good to have you with us. Julie Stowe. Oh, kitten madness at your house for sure. That picture of the kitten with the Christmas
adorable.
tree. Yeah, and that cat was ready to pounce. No doubt about it. Yep. You got it. Jules, good to see you as well. Let's see. I think I've got pretty much everybody
Grumpy
for the
just
moment.
came in.
Oh, Grumpy Stack. Good to see you. Hi, Doug. Good to have you with us. Thanks for being here. Right on. Yep, I think that's everybody. Wonderful. I will toss it over to Teresa and she can chat about what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Oh, we have some goodies planned for tonight.
Yay.
That's for sure. Kindred spirits, that's a relatively new term to me. It's always been soulmate, soul group, soul family. Kindred spirits became popularized in my mind with that television show with Amy Bruni and Adam Berry.
Yes.
Thought that was clever because it's lots of times people are visited by family members who either haven't moved on or elements of them are still hanging around,
Yeah.
So
it's not just in the physical world, but it is in the
afterlife,
invisible world as well.
That's right. It's like they're always around us. We just never know it,
That's it.
Anyway, so we're going to dig in a little bit, share some experiences that we've had to kind of explain the different relationships that different people have with past, present, future, afterlife. Folks that we come into contact with or reincarnate with time and time again. And there's real value to these different relationships, even those that become guides to us. So we have some stories to share about that too.
Yeah.
But before we dig into that, all our love and support to you, Lucky Stone, if you're listening in later. Sorry about your car accident, but very, very grateful that you were not injured or anyone else in the car, and that you walked away from that. That was a bad accident.
Yep. Sorry to hear about that.
Yeah. And, that trauma, that feeling is going to be with you for a while, but you'll get through
doubt.
It. You'll work it through just like I did when I totaled my Lexus. Same thing, slid on the ice and boom.
So accidents are no fun, no joke. That's for sure.
Right.
And there is some trauma that comes with it for sure.
Yeah. And we're grateful that Rocky Stucci is healed and is home now. He's been home for a couple of days recuperating, and he made it home for Christmas. So
wonderful.
He's looking better and better. And so we're very grateful that, and thank you all for your healing intents. And Julie is back. Hi, Julie. She must be feeling better as well.
Awesome.
So, and I want to thank personally, there are several of you here this evening who sent me emails and text messages about my family's situation. And so I greatly appreciate your intents for that. They're making it through, working their way through it.
Kindred spirits around here.
Must be. Must be.
Everybody in the chat room's a kindred spirit.
Talking about Kindred Spirits, and we could do this at any time you want in the show, Lori. But I'm just going
Sure.
to say up front, real quick.
Yeah.
Our kindred sister, Marcia Price, contacted us this evening and came up with she wants to do a food pantry drive, our annual food drive for Cajun Queen's Food Pantry and Kitchen. And she wants to donate a giveaway, which is a brand new Zen Pyramid energy box. And we have pictures of that to show you later. And
We'll show it
there
now.
it
What
is.
the heck?
There it is. 7 chakra carved
Very cool.
in the box itself, hand carved. And within the
Nice.
box are pyramids. Now, these are special. Let me see what she wrote here. Pyramid Power Zen box. It's a 7 chakra hand carved wooden box with 11 gemstone crystal pyramids, a glow in the dark pyramid necklace. You can see that there in the blue in the center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
An organite pendulum,
Mm-hmm.
and sage and Palo Santos. Marcia says pyramids, aside from being major eye candy, are highly sought after devices known for their ability to convert negative energy into positive energy and to balance the spiritual, emotional, and physical body. So just think of a pyramid as a filter for toxic energy in the atmosphere, like positive ions from EMFs, for example. So simply go to the Crystal Network website, to the donations page, to view Cajun Queen's Food Pantry video, and to make your PayPal donations. Cajun will then give us a list of donators' names for the winner so that we can have a drawing to pick a name for the winner, and we'll announce that on our next show. And I'll also advertise this on Facebook postings as well. Maybe we could do a community posting, I don't know. But Marcia's going to have a card that she puts into Zenbox that describes what each stone is. She's got tourmaline in there, labradorite, angelite, jasper. Each pyramid has a different function and a different ability to help you in a certain way. So she's giving one away to the lucky winner. And any donation you make to the food pantry is welcomed. However large or small, whatever your heart tells you to donate, it helps the children. It helps provide food for the families. And Princess is always very grateful for that. So thank you, Marcia, for offering to do that for Cajun. And folks, order a Zen box for someone you love, someone you know who needs a filter for toxic energy in their atmosphere. Okay, someone who needs that positive healing and crystals to work with. And the Zen boxes you can order through Marcia's Inspirations, through her Facebook page. I mean, you can make contact with Marcia and order a box for the holidays so she can get them shipped out so that you can give them away as gifts. So I don't know how much they cost, but you can find that out when you talk to Marcia. She has some other stuff too, so check out her Facebook page. Okay, so we'll do the name drawing and announce the winner next week. Right, Lori?
Awesome. You bet. Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. So what makes a kindred spirit? And do you have them?
Well, a kindred spirit is anybody that you feel like an instant connection with. You know, somebody who just pops out of the blue. You've never met them, and of course, I have a story about that. I was visiting a friend who was at a campsite in upstate New York, and I was just like there with some other people, and we were just hanging out by the lake. And there was this guy there who popped by to visit this same friend, and I'd never met him before. I just turned around to him and I said, "Hey, what's up, Kevin?" You know, and I didn't know his name was Kevin. I mistook him for somebody else who looked like him, whose name is Kevin.
Wow.
And he looks at me and he's like, you know, the usual and stuff like that. And you see, the thing is, I mistook him for somebody I thought I knew, and he mistook me for somebody he thought he knew. That also had a kind of a strange name that started with D. Uh,
Hmm.
so we wound up having a conversation for like 15 minutes before figuring out that we didn't really know each other in this life, but we hit it off perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how that works. I've met people where I felt like I've known them forever.
Hmm.
Absolutely forever. Like, I think we've done this before. I don't know
Yeah.
why I know this, but I'm pretty sure we've done this before. So yeah, it's fascinating how that works. And you just have this like instant connection that is
Hmm.
kind of electrical. You just, it's like your soul recognizes that other soul.
Yeah.
And of course, when you come to earth, you're under the veil of forgetfulness, so you don't remember that you really are truly connected to the universe, the all that is, and that we all are interconnected all the time. But we come here and we forget that because we're here to do a job, and that is to learn how to be an individual. And
Hmm.
so you can't do it when you're connected to the all the time. So
Hmm.
that's kind of fascinating. Grandpa Brian, has that happened to you? You've met people. I know when I saw you first in the chat room, I had an instant connection to you and Dalibor as well, and many others, Jules, and so many in this soul tribe.
There's a friend of mine, Frank. The first time I met him, I swore that me and him have hung out several times before then. I said,
Hmm.
"You've been down to the cabin?" He's like, "No, I haven't." I was like, "I know you've been here." And I
Wow.
mean, we hit it off like you would not believe. And it's the first time I ever met him.
Yeah, it's amazing how that works. It's like just on a soul level, it just recognizes that energy. It identifies with the energy, and that's what's
Yeah,
fascinating about the kindred spirit connection.
Yeah.
Well, I would also say that it doesn't necessarily have to be a human, because I have
Yeah.
very unusually powerful relationships with animals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
same
me
here.
too. Yeah, me
Hmm.
too.
Me
With
too.
Yeah.
animals, yeah.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, many people have told me that their animals like are attracted to me, like nobody else that they know. You know, where,
Hmm.
for example, this one guy, I came over to his house. Both his dogs came to my feet and just sat there, hung out there, lay down. He's like, I have never seen those two dogs do that ever to
That
anybody.
that's so interesting.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we had some really close friends, and they had a dog. And for some reason, the dog loved my smell. So I don't know what that was all about, but very connected to me. And we took one of the little GI Joe dolls, and I cut a little bit of my hair and I put it in there, and she loved that thing. She took it everywhere. And so it
Huh.
was just kind of, it's interesting how animals really have that connection. Or if this has ever happened to you where you've gone up to a horse, and horses are
Hmm.
so smart,
Hmm.
and they just immediately know your energy. And
Hmm.
you can put your hand on on the front of their face, and you can just feel them connecting to your energy.
Yeah.
But it's amazing.
I, I've taken a couple of my friends over, who've come to visit me. There's this place not far from here where they raise yaks, and anytime I come right to the fence, it's like they can tell it's me, and they just come. All of the yaks just come like storming this one place, expecting something from me. I'm like, I don't
Yep.
know. What am I supposed to do? And then they
Yeah.
check me out for about 15 minutes, and then one by one, they just gradually leave. But
Hmm.
anytime I come there, it's always like a mad stampede, just to check me out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Or birds. I've had birds do that.
Birds, yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep.
Just show up, pop up, just kind of boom, 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 walk around. Or I'll be sitting in my car for some reason, waiting for somebody, and I'll look over and there's a bird. There's always something around me, kind of like just popping up. And it feels like they're just kind of saying hello, like, hey, how's it going? How
Yeah,
you doing?
yeah.
What's
I
going
Uh-huh.
wasn't
on?
even aware of them until the past couple of years, and I've had fun trying to sort it all out because there seems to be these different, soul group versus soul family, soul mate versus twin flame.
Right.
And there's subtle differences between each of them, and yet people will explain them in different philosophies. They'll try to define them, but they're very hard to tell the difference. And so I was reading, I wanted to ask Lori, I was reading this. It says chances are excellent that you've already met at least one of your soul group members
Mhm.
although there's slightly more intense connections with soul family members than with your soul group.
Yeah.
So I got to thinking about that, and I'm like, well, I wonder if that means that the group, like this group, this community, we're all connected brothers and sisters. I could feel that.
Mhm.
But that then there's those that you have a much more intense connection with, and you might even reincarnate with them into the same family
Lineage.
here,
Mhm.
lineage, right?
Mhm.
It says your soul group members instantly feel familiar and safe to you. You may find yourself sharing private details of your life with a stranger on a plane. God knows I've done that. Maybe it's someone you met in a store who recommended a life changing book, or it could be a person you just met who feels like a long lost friend. However, the connection happens, it will change you in a positive way. Soul group members come into your life at significant times in order to assist you with life's purpose. These meetings help to fuel your spiritual growth along with assisting you in making huge leaps forward in your life. I have that with Lori, but
Mhm.
Lori is more than just a soul group member for me. We have so much deeper connection and so many incarnations together that she's more like the kindred spirit connection. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
we're like
Mhm.
two halves of the same whole. Um, it says here a family member, a neighbor, a workmate, or someone you chance to meet in passing can also be considered a soul group member. So different people explain it in different ways, but they sound like almost the same thing to me, a soul group and a soul family. Lori, do you see a difference between
The
a soul
soul,
group community and a soul family?
yeah, the soul family are souls that have incarnated over and over and over and have a trusted connection between them. And so they'll come in and play different roles in different lifetimes, but they all kind of congregate together because
Hmm.
they have this trust that's built over time. And then your connections to, you know, other people are a little different from that. They are connections, and you could have had many past lives. You may have even been closer than just a sibling or something. I mean, just a friendship. You could have been siblings in another lifetime. There's so many variables with it, but that
Yeah.
soul family is unique to that group of people that decide to come in and be together and go through it. And typically, soul families will take on some really crazy life paths, and they will do a lot of work together. So, you know, they can come in with impairments, they can come in with mental disabilities and really hard stuff. And I think that's what really helps them grow and stay connected. And that's why it's such a special
Hmm.
relationship with the soul family.
Mhm.
I saw.
I think cults are a good example of that. Surprisingly enough,
Hmm.
because they all chose to join that one particular group, and in some cases, end their lives at the same time. Like the
Yeah,
people at Jonestown.
right.
You
Yeah.
could have a
Don't
point
drink the
there. I
Kool
never
Aid.
thought about it from
Yeah.
that perspective. I never thought about it from that
Yeah.
perspective. But yeah, they may have
Yeah.
all contracted as soul family members to go through
And
that experience.
they
Yeah.
Hmm.
all contracted to go out on the same day.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
You start to look at your family members a little differently if you come from a really close family and there's just a bond that it can't be shook or no matter what, and it's solid and strong. You more than likely you're from a soul family, or you're all
Yeah.
coming into this together, and because you're so trusting each other and you've done it so many times, it makes sense to me. And I can remember saying to my dad when I was younger, I would say in my teens, don't you feel like you've done this before? And he kind of looked at me like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I just feel it in my bones. We've done this before. This isn't the first time we've done
No,
this,
no. And
and it's
even Jane Roberts wrote about that in her book. That entire villages
right.
can reincarnate from one place to another place. Like there was a recently studied village in France where they all had the same collective unconscious memories
Uh huh.
of having lived in a different part of France, like in the Middle
Hmm.
Ages.
Hmm.
Yep. For example, if you are drawn to a certain period in time, there's a reason for that. For Teresa and I, we have strong connections to Greece. And I mean, this was where we first discovered that we had
Yeah,
this really strong bond in that lifetime. Or just like, we talked about the Titanic, Teresa, and how that all came
Hmm.
yeah,
about. I
hmm
mean, I was your father in that lifetime. So this
yeah,
lifetime, we're not connected biologically, but we are energetically still connected.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. There's been times when we've had the biological connection. There's been times where we've had the soulmate connection.
Mm-hmm.
There's been times when we just have the, you know,
Mm-hmm.
soul group. And that's another thing. I saw a diagram that had, and what it was trying to explain. It was trying to explain that we all share the same oversoul. And I'm like, what? Huh? No, no. We're each working our individual path. We each have our lives that we've incarnated, our lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And my higher self is my best version of me. But what they were talking about is that there are aspects of each of our higher selves, which was the best version, cumulative version of ourselves
Mm-hmm.
over the many roles we've played, that are out there that we share because they're part of the conscious collective. So the knowledge or
Mm-hmm.
or any wisdom they may have picked up is
Mm-hmm.
out there for us to tap into, so that we all share. In other words, we have fractals of ourselves, our higher selves, but together they're one. And they
In other
showed the
words,
soul groups coming off of that, the soul families coming off of the soul groups.
yeah. In other words, we're like fragments of an oversoul, almost like.
Uh huh.
Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, there's several parts of you that can exist at the same time, and I know that's a
Hmm.
a very
Yeah.
stretched concept, but believe it or not, you can have lifetimes where you're here in more than just one body.
Sure.
And that's mind blowing in and of itself. Uh, Julie had an interesting
Julie, yes.
comment. I always felt misplaced in my family. And even Chloe had mentioned, I felt misplaced on this planet as well.
Hmm.
And there's other reasons for that. If you're not coming in with a soul group, then there's a reason for that. So it has to do with your life path and what you're here to learn and do. Everybody's on their own path. They don't have a manual for this. So you might be working on some other things.
Or maybe you got
And
left back, just like in grade school.
yeah,
Got left back. Got to repeat. The second grade and
that
third
that is
grade.
very possible. You could be repeating a
So
lesson that wasn't taken care
you're
of
not
last life.
progressing. You're not
Yes.
progressing with that same group
Hmm.
as they went
Or
on.
you might be just progressing with a different group, and who knows,
Hmm.
you could be creating that soul group as we speak, for all we know. So
Hmm.
the people that you make those connections to, they're the ones that
Hmm.
are really your soul family. So
And it's not always just going to be emotion. It's also going to be other things that are going to lead you to the conclusion that there's got to be a soul connection. Like, for example, one of my friends, his birthday, the birth date is exactly the same as my girlfriend's birthday, exactly the
hmm
same.
Yeah.
uh,
hmm
his father's birth date is exactly the same as my father's birth date, and his mother's birth date and birth year is exactly the same as my mom's birth date and year.
wow.
Wow.
So
Wow.
what are the chances of that?
Yeah,
Literally,
exactly.
that's like
Yep.
I want,
unbelievable.
yeah, it is totally. I want to address this. There's only one soul. Think of your soul as a drop of water in a giant ocean. That drop of water can be dispersed in many different forms and in many different ways. So it wouldn't just be one soul. Uh, that's that's at least my understanding. You may have your own knowing about it, but I'm pretty clear on that one that you can have multiple incarnations in one and from one soul.
Well, I
Uh,
think that goes into the semantics of what is the difference between a soul and a spirit, and
yeah.
we've covered this in a different
hmm
episode. Like, for example, in my language, the word for soul is feminine, but it's the same word as the masculine version for spirit. So
Mm-hmm.
spirit is masculine and soul is feminine. But in my opinion, it's all made of the same fluid. It's like discussing the difference between AC and DC. They're
Sure,
both
but
exactly the same.
yeah,
It's current. It's the
yeah,
flow of electrons. It's just
so,
like
yes.
AC is like
Mm-hmm.
it's switching back and forth, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still a flow
Mm-hmm.
of electricity.
It's my understanding that the soul is the divine part of you, the spirit is the human part of you. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Uh,
Everybody sees that a little bit differently, you know.
yeah, and like I said, this is my knowing. I'm just sharing what I
Yeah,
know. I'm not saying this is, the truth, the universal
yeah.
truth, but it is my understanding from a unique perspective, and that is I do have a connection to spirit, and I know a lot about how things work. And I know a lot
Mhm.
about why I'm here and why you're here and what this whole school is about. It's the Earth School. We come here to learn. We want to graduate and move on to the next level. So you
Once
can't
you
do
find
it
out,
unless you graduate. And you
yeah,
can't
once
skip
you
a grade. You can't
no,
skip a grade. So
once you
Well, I'll
find
tell
out
you, there. I'll tell you.
what the lesson plan is all about, then it becomes much easier to start learning.
exactly. That's
Yeah,
right.
And
That's
I've
right.
I've come to the conclusion that it's all about ethics. It's all about ethics, and we're meant to become more and more ethical as we progress in our life path over the lifetimes that we've had.
Yeah. Marcia popped in. She says, "Thank you, Soul Tribe, for the fundraiser for Queen's Food Pantry. I'm honored to be able to contribute and bless others." Marcia, thank you for
thank
all
you,
you
Marcia.
do. You really are behind the scenes there. And you're almost like a Tinkerbell in my mind. You just kind of like, whoop, wave your magic wand and you just make people happy. So thank you,
Yeah,
Marcia. Thank you so much.
and that box is beautiful.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Mhm. Oh
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
It
love
is.
it.
Um,
and
okay,
I, and
so
I would posit the question: what's the
Sure.
most ethical you could be?
The most ethical you could be, I would say, is to be honest and truthful to yourself and your
Mhm.
emotions and your feelings. And
That's one of
also,
them. Yeah.
not only that, but with others. So
yeah,
just be uniquely you, because that's what you
Hmm.
came here to do. And
Hmm.
when you do that, you're coming from a place of genuine love, I think. That's the way
Yep.
I see it.
Sure.
Yeah.
well, let's discuss just for a moment now. Let's change in over to the paranormal. Let's
Okay.
talk a little bit about visitations and interactions with spirits that you recognize or come to realize is actually someone you were connected with in
Mm-hmm.
your bloodline here in this lifetime, or it could be someone in the family that you never met because you weren't born yet, but they're part of your like aunts and uncles that you never maybe never met,
Ancestors. Mm-hmm.
ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
ancestors, or
They know you. You don't know
or
them, but they know
family
you.
members you
Mm-hmm.
dealt with who've passed on, and there's aspects of them that are still here.
Right.
And so let's talk about the paranormal experience for a bit.
Sure.
I was getting audibles. I was getting my name called out at night, and I didn't understand where that voice was coming from, but it sounded like my brother. Well, my brother sometimes mumbles a little in his sleep, but I accused him of calling out my name, and he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I'm like, "Well, I keep hearing Teresa, you know." And it was so and then but he also sounds like my father. So Lori and I worked together to flesh this out. And what it was is I had his urn here in my room, in my bedroom, and we never buried him. And I had his urn in here and his picture, World War II photo. I'd be sound asleep and he'd be like, Teresa! And I'd be like, what? And I'd get up and I'd go to the top of the stairs. And I'd go, what do you want, Frank? He's like, what are you waking me up for? Wasn't him at all. Turns out it was my father trying to get my attention because there's something we hadn't cleared up, something very
Mhm.
important
Mm-hmm.
that we had not worked through. And so there was karmic clearing, past traumatic clearing going on there. And so part of me was not letting him go, and part of him had not moved on. So he came into my now to get my attention, even though it frightened me. It got my attention. And go ahead, Lori, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say he was trying to get your attention. And when we first met, that's when I kept picking up on your dad. And so he was trying to clear his karma because he wanted to apologize for the way he treated you when you were a kid. And he needed that for him to move on. So oftentimes spirit will come back to you and try to make amends with you because they see
Right.
things differently from that other side. And they could be some really powerful, crazy, nasty things that could be done to you, or they've hurt you, in really, really bad, negative ways. But they want to make amends, and they want you to know that they've forgiven you because they go through that process of clearing all the negative energy and removing that when they get into spirit. And it's kind of like a soul wash, kind of like a car wash. They go through that. That energy is cleaned, and you're, squeaky clean. You've got a whole new start. But they're just trying to get your attention to make amends.
And once he came through, and I was and I did remove the urn. I put the urn somewhere else. But he hasn't really been back since then, except that today.
Right.
He connected with me today for a reason. The other thing that happened is shortly after he came through, my mom then revealed herself. She couldn't get my attention in the same way, but she got Lori's attention. She appeared to Lori in a vision, and Lori started asking me questions, and she started regressing me, I guess, without even realizing that that's what she was doing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We've mentioned this before.
Crazy stuff.
And so I was able to clear a lot of things that I had been holding on to with her. And
she gave me pictures. She was speaking to me in pictures, so I saw her in the kitchen cooking. She had her apron on. You guys had an old screen door that flapped open every time you opened the door, slammed shut. She was upset with your dad. She's yelling at him. He's yelling at her. She's trying to get you to come in to have dinner.
Yeah.
So when I started telling you that, you kind of went pale on me. And you were like, what the? Are you kidding?
Yeah. She described the scene that was going on. Very familiar scene. She had details that nobody could possibly have had. And so that opened me up to, so I wanted, like some of you, I didn't feel like I had incarnated with any soul group or soul family.
Right.
I felt totally, completely not
on your own.
And I was made to feel that way over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel that way when I was really young, a little bit, but not to the extent that I have as an adult. So I had no desire to make connections.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out I needed to. And that's why they were trying to get my attention. So those are two examples right there. Mm-hmm. The last one that I have for you was early on as a child. My grandmother was one of 17 grandchildren.
Wow.
The Vaughn family, from the
That's
Vaughn family.
a lot of grandkids.
And she married into the Sherrier clan, and the Sherrier clan was the German clan and side of it. They together had a lot of kids too. So the family home was built, God, I don't know, prior to World War II on the outskirts of D.C. from local stones collected out of the Potomac, and it was a historical landmark for a long time, the family home. And it was a big old stone mansion, and different people within the family had spotted this transparent apparition floating, just the shirt, this plaid shirt, and that you could see the long arms and maybe make out parts of the hand and maybe parts of a neck, but it was no torso. It was without a torso, and it just came floating. It would come floating down the upper hallway upstairs, and we all saw it. Many of us saw it. And when you look at the portrait of the man who built and owned the home, Schreier, Pap, had a huge portrait over the fireplace, and he was wearing that plaid shirt with his pipe. You know, elderly man had his pipe, and so everybody knew who Pap was. That's just that I never remember meeting him. I only saw this when I was like maybe 8 or 9. The others were teenagers. They remembered him. And so they all knew it was Pap. And it wasn't scary. It wasn't frightening, even to a child, because when you passed through it and it came down the hall and you passed through it, you had that overwhelming feeling of warmth, family.
Mm-hmm.
This is family.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good feeling. And so I knew intuitively as a child I was passing through a family member who hadn't moved on or hid part of his essence, like a residual.
Mm-hmm.
I saw doorknobs turn, doors open and close, but it wasn't violent and it wasn't frightening or maniacal in any way. But you got that instant knowing of family. So when I spoke to the older kids about it, they're in their teens, late teens, 20s. When I spoke to them about it, they were very candid with me. They were like, "Oh, he was just wonderful. He was a family man. He was a good person, and everybody loved Pap. And he knew you. You were just really, really an infant, but you're sensing that family connection from him because he is family."
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's his way of making his presence known without frightening people. Because
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who would be frightened by just the sight of a
Yeah.
disembodied shirt, floating
Yeah.
around.
Well, he showed up
that's
mostly
not
on
something you
holidays.
see every day either.
Yeah, it's
I'd
not.
be
It's
like,
not something. Yeah.
"Holy crap!"
It was
I mean,
almost a tradition for him to show up on holidays.
okay.
So we had large family gatherings. You can well
Mhm.
imagine how many first, second, third cousins there were, and we were the old-fashioned Catholic extended family. So I would be left with aunts, uncles, cousins, to take care of me during the day. So you were used to having this large, huge family environment. And so on Christmas Eve or Christmas night or Easter, any Memorial Day, Labor Day, it didn't matter. The whole family showed up 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 people, on the grounds of this property. And he always made an appearance. That's when he manifested.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we saw him.
Just letting you know he's there.
Yeah. So
I'm
now,
with you guys.
the ones that lived there every day, they may have had more encounters, but that's what I recall. So that was a feel-good feeling that they were making their presence known. Hey, I haven't forgotten you. I'm here. I'm here to support you. Now, what I have are a guardian. I have a guardian angelic contact that is a combination of 2 of my cousins. And
This is interesting.
it comes to me, and I have named it only for the purposes of communicating with Lori, but also because of who they are. And one is Philip, and the other is Thomas. They were first cousins. To me, they were my third cousins. They were much older than me. They were the same age as my sisters. And they have recently come into my life within the past, 6 months to a year, Lori? Is it 6 months? Has it been a year yet?
That's
Six,
about
more
right.
like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And they have come to me at a time when I felt I needed protection for various reasons. And some of you know what those reasons are. But they have come to me to let me know that even though they're in the afterlife, they have made a choice to combine their energies to come to me with advice, counseling, and protection.
Spirit guides.
At certain times when I need it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were my cousins here in this lifetime.
So they know you pretty well.
Totally new to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know me pretty well. And so I can tap into them and call upon them when I'm feeling like I need something.
Mm-hmm.
Or they just show up and I don't even call on them. They come
Yeah.
to me, they come through like my dad did today.
Mm-hmm.
So now I've got my mom, my dad, I've talked to my sister,
Mm-hmm.
and I have this guardian spirit that's a combination of Philip and Tommy.
Yeah.
And I haven't discussed this with my cousins. It would blow their mind. They would be like,
Sure.
yeah, you need some
Blow most
drugs,
people's
Teresa.
minds.
You need some
Mhm.
counseling.
What are you
Whatever.
taking? I want some.
I know the truth. I know that
Yes.
they're there. So in this case, they've become part of my spirit team, my guides.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got just letting you know they're there
Right.
because they haven't quite moved on, to clearing karma to help you
Mhm.
understand yourself
Mm-hmm.
and make you and help you release, help you expand and release. And then we have the angelic connection, where or the afterlife connection, where they're there as part of your ongoing support and protection.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this has all happened to me within the past year or so.
Yeah, a lot's been going on. That's for
So,
sure.
I
Yeah.
certainly didn't have all that.
Mhm.
The only thing I ever connected with in my youth was Great Mother. And my guide Mary, David Null and I connect with the same two angelics. We both connect with Mary, and we both connect with Great Mother. So it's interesting because some of us do share the same guides or the same guide energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
I've noticed that. I've noticed that too. That sometimes you feel more of a connection with some of these disembodied spirits than you do with real life people, or you feel more of a connection with people that you've just met, as opposed to people that you're technically related to. And
hmm hmm
I'm specifically referring to members of my own family that I didn't know until 1991 when I first moved to Europe, because myself, my brother, and my parents were the only four people that moved to the United States in 1971.
Hmm.
So we were like the only ones of my whole family who were living in the United States at that
yeah,
time. So I didn't know any of these people. I didn't grow up with them. So when I moved back to Europe in '91, they were like totally foreign to me, totally alien, and they even acted that way towards me. Where on the surface it was like all buddy buddy and everything, but uh, you know, when push
hmm
came
You
to shove, they turned out to be kind of like backstabbers.
felt
So
disconnected.
we
Yeah.
felt disconnected, and
Mm.
instead I made like really good connections with people that were not members of my family that I had known maybe a week, and
yeah.
all of a sudden I knew everything about them, they knew everything about me, and I felt more of a connection with them. And the interesting thing is that some of these people did have dealings with members of my family, my extended family in Czechoslovakia
Uh huh.
at the time. So that's one of the diagnostics that you can use to figure out if somebody is a like a kindred spirit or not.
Mm-hmm.
The only one in my entire family that I have that kindred connection with is my brother Frank,
Hmm.
And he's the closest to
and
you
we're
out
the
of your whole
same
family.
DNA. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
same. We live together.
Yeah.
We're 6 years apart. The others were 10 and 12 years older than me.
Yeah.
Um, but I never felt that connection that I knew my parents from a previous life, or that I had any ongoing interaction with any of them. But
Well,
I
I
do
do
with
feel like it.
him. I
I do.
recognize him from other lifetimes.
I mean, I definitely recognize my
Uh,
parents from
uh,
from previous lifetimes. Oh, that definitely is the case. But I was going to go on to say that I had been sent to Catholic grammar school and then Catholic high
yeah,
school,
yeah,
and that whole time they were trying to get you into this trap thing where you're supposed to have a personal relationship with Jesus. And I was like,
yes,
I
yes.
I I never had that. I
Yeah,
I never quote unquote got that uh,
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, first of all, if he really did exist, he lived thousands of years ago, and his life experience no way equates with anything I'm experiencing right now at the moment. I'm sure he didn't have to deal with things like tax forms in a foreign language, or um, I don't know, problems with the internet, or problems with your internet browser, or things like that. What would Jesus say to
Mm-hmm.
dealing with a virus on the internet or something?
Right.
How does his experience, if he even existed, like I say, equate with your life experience? So how are you supposed to connect with somebody like that? That,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of,
Uh-huh.
even at an early age, opened my eyes up to this possibly being fake.
Yeah. Didn't seem logical to
Didn't
you.
It
seem
didn't seem
logical, right?
logical, and
Right.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
didn't seem
Been
Didn't
there.
real.
resonate with you.
Been
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, didn't seem real.
Yeah.
Chloe has an interesting question here.
I know I have spirit guides, but have not much known of experience with them. I'd say my experience is more of a divine self or my higher being.
And then she says, why is that?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Go ahead, Teresa.
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
I would say she's connecting with her higher soul, in that she knows that her body right now on this earth is just one aspect of the sum total of her whole life. Where that's this life that you're living right now. That's literally just the tip of the iceberg. There's a
Yeah.
whole other, the mass of the iceberg. 95% of it is underwater. You don't see it.
I would say that it's because she's connected at that higher level. We all feel, or many of us feel, that everything is just a reflection of self, that we're all part of multiple fractals and we're all one body. And that's true. The ability to break that down, or the need to break it down, either you don't have the need yet and you're not ready to, or you haven't sought it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to try to tap into it,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't feel that they need to reach out yet.
Right.
But at some point, and I didn't either for the longest time, Chloe. Like I said, this just all started happening recently. It's as you're going through your spiritual journey, there will be points in time where you are going through something where you might feel that energy coming in, and you just need to open up to it if you decide that that's what you want to do. Or you can start calling on them to come to you. And it's usually through, it started with me through not visualization, but meditation. So I would go into deep meditation and I would feel those energies coming in, and I'd start learning and being familiar with them. And they're communicating with it's always my higher self
Mm-hmm.
that's making that bridge to these other
That's
energies.
exactly right.
So
That
you're
is
not doing anything wrong because you're talking to your higher self. You just haven't had
right.
the need to break it down and isolate different energies that are coming in. So you're fine with just that higher self. That's good. There might come a point where you want to differentiate and feel and let different energies come in because they have different messages that help you work through things or questions that you might have. It's through meditation that you could ask the questions and get the answers. But it's always going to come from your higher. In my experience, it always comes from my higher self. But my
Mm-hmm.
higher self is that bridge to all the conscious collective.
Yeah.
You could also use logic. You,
Mm-hmm.
you, could, you don't always have to use intuition. I mean, intuition, yes, that is like your secret access to tech support in this realm, as I call it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes logic works as well.
Yes, Lucky.
Yeah.
Your higher self resonates almost directly with guardian angels. They speak the same language. Your higher self can translate better to you. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mhm.
what's Doug saying? My
But
spirit
this is
guides don't like me?
disturbing. Yeah, this is
Mm-hmm.
disturbing to me.
Mm-hmm.
My spirit guides don't like me. They don't talk to me, or they show me the wrong paths. Your spirit guides would never
Never
point
show
you
them.
in the wrong
Mhm.
path, right?
Mhm.
Right,
No, they would
Grandpa
never.
Brian?
They would never do anything like that. That is your free will. That's actually making you choose those wrong paths.
Yeah, that's ego. That's
Hmm.
what it is. Pure and
Exactly.
simple
Yep.
ego. Yep.
Bingo, Chloe.
Yep. You got it, Chloe. Those aren't
Bingo.
your guides. Yep.
Yeah, so if you're feeling like there's animosity or not a loving, you can ask and they have to answer you. Are
Hmm.
you of love and light? Are you here to help me? Are you here? Because there's a lot of trickster energy out there that's trying to feed
including
off of
yourself.
Yep.
and if you're
Yeah.
going through a vulnerable period, which you
Mhm.
are right now,
Hmm.
you might, you're attracting that, not purposefully, but the energy that's going out is one of frustration and confusion, maybe some depression, maybe some disappointment. And so whatever comes out comes back in and
Yeah.
tries to make you feel like it's, and so you just don't
Yeah.
connect with that at all.
Max Vision remote viewing class is right. Just like people, Grumpy Stacks, some are just asses.
Max,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
There you
I
go.
agree.
There
I
you
agree.
go. I
And
love that.
just
Good,
because you
Max.
don't just because you don't like somebody or like a spirit or something like that doesn't mean that they don't serve a useful purpose in your life, or that they don't have something to teach you.
Okay, so how do I correct it? Doug says.
Uh,
And Max just said, test the spirits. Lori can tell you how we normally do that.
well, first of all, you really got to get into some meditation, and you have to start learning how to recognize the energy that is separate from you. That's not easy, but meditation is the key. Um, Also, you can do some automatic writing. Automatic writing is incredibly powerful, and it just starts with a clean sheet of paper, a pen. What I like to do is draw a little figure 8 for about 30 seconds until I feel connected to the energy. And then just whatever words come into my mind, I just write it down. I'm not worried about reading it. I'm not worried about what it's saying. I'm only worried about getting the next word, the next word, the next word, and writing it down. Once you've completed that message, then you can go back and read it. And I guarantee you, if you do that, you will start to connect and learn about the energy and who they are. You have to discover their energy.
Yeah.
They're not just going to pop over and you go, "Hey, Grumpy Stack, how you doing? Listen, you need to do this, this, and this."
Yeah, that's not the way
You
it
got to
works.
raise your vibration up to meet theirs
Uh-huh.
because they're coming
Exactly.
down to
Yeah.
meet you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
if you can, that is a good physical way
Yep.
for you to get started, and that's where I get a lot of my spirit messages,
Yep.
but also channeling them as well. So, and
You
the
get
the more
yourself
you
a,
do it, you get stronger and stronger and stronger.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Teresa.
Get yourself a nice journal, book. Get a journal. Take yourself off into the woods somewhere or a private room in your home where the kids aren't around.
Your man cave, even.
Your man cave, wherever it is you've got quiet time. And you don't have to think of it as connecting with spiritual beings. You're
Mhm.
connecting with your own self.
Yeah.
So you're writing down your thoughts about something.
Remember, you have that higher part of yourself
Mhm.
that is divinely
Talking to you. Yeah.
and knows everything about everything. So you want to tap into that first. You've got to connect to you first. Once you start trusting that feeling and knowing what that's all about, then you can branch off and expand into more. And then that's when you really start getting the help you need.
That's what we mean when we say connect to your higher self. You're connecting to yourself, but you're connecting to that part of yourself
The
that
divine self, the
has
highest
knowledge.
part of you.
It
Yes.
has knowledge, it has experiences,
Mhm.
and it even
Lifetimes
has
of experience.
some wisdom too that it's
Mhm.
gained over a
Mhm.
lifetime,
Yeah.
multiple lifetimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
That would be
start
the
listening to yourself.
Yeah.
that would be the ultimate source of wisdom, I would say. That's what people would call God or Jesus or whatever.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
it's not going to be the God of the Bible, the God of some other religion or whatever, because as regards religion itself, a lot of it is just fakery and a lot of it is just social control. If you look at Moses was technically the first basket case. He was found in a basket, right? So
Yeah, be your own personal Jesus, you guys.
yeah,
That's exactly, be your own guru.
Brian, did you want to add something to this? Because you were acknowledging this when we were talking to Doug. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, always make sure your guides are there for your highest and best interest. If you're getting something that's not for your highest and best interest, it is not one of your guides. is definitely
Mhm.
not one of your
More than
guides.
likely, and this has been my experience, it is your ego. It is you. That's the
Exactly.
Mhm.
trickster. The
Yes.
trickster isn't outside of yourself. The trickster is coming from you. And
You.
that's happened to
Mhm.
me many times.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
I had to
That's
learn the hard way on that one. It
yeah.
wasn't
So
Mhm.
fun.
yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Let that ego set aside, like Teresa said. Meditate.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That is one of the best ways to connect with not only your higher self but your guides and whoever else.
Well,
If you have trouble doing that, you know, I know
well,
Lori's
what?
used the pendulum before to connect,
Mhm.
and that's a good way. And then you
Yeah.
can find
Yeah.
out if they're loving light because they have to tell you the truth when you ask questions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
GB, what would you tell Doug? How do I meditate? How do I even do that? What would you tell someone that's watching this show right now and goes, how do you meditate? What is the purpose of meditating?
There's many different systems of meditation, and everybody has a different style of meditation. It's
Hmm.
just like, we all have to eat, but you can't tell somebody else what to eat because they're going to want to eat something else. You
Well,
know, it's the
for
same thing. It's the same thing with everything else. It's like
Barry
if you
just
were to
said
give
it.
somebody like a life strategy, would you tell a
Mhm.
rabbit, okay, you have to be brave and you got to go out there and fight? No, the rabbit's just going to run away, and that's his survival strategy. See what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
This
it's
is what
individual.
Barry is saying here to Doug is just perfect for Doug. Stare into that fire.
yeah,
Yeah.
Empty your thoughts. Breathe in, breathe out, relax. Don't let any distractions around you. Stare into your fire pit. Don't use your
That's
imagination to see little
that's
figures in there.
actually that's actually an extremely
Uh-huh.
extremely throwback, extremely atavistic, primitive
That's
um,
scrying.
thing. You
Yeah,
know
that would
why?
be.
Because in caveman times, the caveman hunter gatherer would always come back home and stare into the fire. Come back
Hmm.
home to the fire in the cave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
scrying. But I think it's important to remind people if you are going to meditate, and part of the why meditation is so effective is that it's learning how to shut your brain down and shut your thoughts off.
Shut your
So
ego
so
off.
yeah,
yeah,
and that's what's happening is the ego's popping in and it's trying to take control. Hey, look, I've had control since the day you were born, and all of a sudden now you don't want control. What the hell? That can't happen because your
Right.
ego's there to
Mhm.
protect you.
yep,
But once you start to learn to really drop the ego and anything negative coming into your mind, replace it with a positive thought. And sometimes I like to do silly things and I'm very creative. So I like to, in my mind, I can see the stuff written on a chalkboard. And I just walk up to the
Yeah.
chalkboard with a giant eraser and I just erase it. And then I write
Yeah.
down the positive message. And that gets my brain used to exercising to remove the negative thinking. Once you start getting into the positive thinking, it becomes easier and
Yeah.
easier and easier, and that's when you start gaining control over your mind chatter, the monkey mind, I like to say.
Mhm.
So, Doug, if you can't get to the fire pit, I can't either.
Hmm.
But I have a number of candles. Here's one right here
Hmm.
that I like to light up. It gives me red and pink and purple, different. It changes colors, and I have different colors and scents that I use. Um, but I will sit here and stare into this glass bowl and just stare into the flame,
Hmm.
and it just relaxes me and calms me.
Hmm. And
Sometimes
breathing.
I'll sage first, yeah, and
Hmm.
breathing, and
Breathing
then
is
of
really
course what
important.
Max teaches us in remote viewing is that
Hmm.
use the om to clear out. Om. You get the vibration. You
You can
might feel
do
a little
singing
strange at
bowls.
first, but
Singing
singing
bowls will
bowls.
help you. Hmm.
Lori got me my first singing bowl. I'm telling you, it was like a nightly thing. You
I
know,
think, like for like I said, for everybody, it's going to be different. For me, it was always chopping wood. Chopping wood.
Oh, there you go.
You know why?
Anything that, yeah,
You know why? Because you're cut off from sensory on the outside because you have the ear protection on, you got
yeah,
the goggles on, the
uh huh,
so it's usually gets dark outside when you're doing this in the woods.
Mhm.
So
We have a I'm sorry, Dalibor. Sometimes I tend to talk over people. I'm sorry. It's
sure,
just I get excited and I want to get the thought out because if I
Me
don't,
too.
I'll
Me
forget.
too.
Okay. So I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just being me, just doing me. And I wanted to tell you guys that we have a kindred spirit with us tonight, and Jules is joining us and popping
There
in to
she
say
is.
hello.
hey,
Hi,
Hello,
Julie.
hello, everybody. I'm at my
hello.
little granddaughter's second birthday party. Here she comes. Come here, Eloise. Come
Oh,
here. Come here,
Eloise.
darling. Come
Two
here.
already.
Look, there she is.
oh,
Hi.
hi, sweetie
Hi,
pie.
You
Eloise.
say
Hi,
hello. Wave to
Hello.
them.
Happy
Wave.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Woohoo.
Oh,
Hey,
Happy
here's Dusty. Here's
birthday.
Dusty.
hey,
Say
Hi.
hello.
Hi.
Hi.
You
What
say
you
hello.
doing? Hi, you guys.
Yeah, we're having a grown-up party with little kids.
That's so great. I love
They're
that.
all
Boy,
Hayden's
she's
mates, and
getting
they're all.
big.
Yes,
She
she
is
is,
getting
isn't
big.
she? You're beautiful, aren't you? Hey?
How did she do
Yeah.
at her? How did she do at her first dance recital? The other
She
last
got a
week.
little stage fright, but her father could dance up there though.
Yeah, I saw him.
He
I saw
shows
him
her.
on the stage with her. Yeah, that
There's
was cute.
Dusty.
Yep.
He wants to be in on it too. You say
Hi,
hello.
Dusty. What
You say
you been
hello.
eating chocolate there, buddy?
Yeah, they had the
Not on
freckles.
you.
You know the chocolate with the hundreds and thousands on them.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Up down. She just
You
saw
mean the
Mum.
$100,000 bar? The
Beg your
caramel,
pardon?
the $100,000 bar with the caramel and chocolate?
No, they're coloured little sprinkles that you put over things, like fairy
Ah,
bread. I wonder
oh,
if I got some. Hang on, I'll see if I can find them. Where did you put the chocolate? Chocolate? Where did you put the chocolate? Yeah. We're in the kitchen now. So this is what they are. I know over there you might not have them. So this is them here.
Oh, yeah.
The
mhm,
chocolate
oh
on
yeah,
that side and sprinkles there.
Oh,
oh yeah,
Up
yummy!
there.
yeah.
Yep.
Very nice. See,
Mhm.
that's very colorful. That attracts a child. Like, nom, nom, nom.
Yep.
Well, you
Mhm.
have bread and butter and you sprinkle those on top and they call it fairy bread.
I
Fairy
like
bread. Yes, yes, that's a
yummy.
good
Just give me
idea.
chocolate and I'm good.
Yeah, chocolate. But I'm the only
Yeah.
vegetarian here, so I've had to eat my little lettuce leaves and anyway, I can still have chocolate.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
what
like
Yeah.
your hair.
life
I like
without
I like
chocolate.
your hair. You're looking good,
Yeah,
kiddo.
it's really pretty. I
Yep.
saw your video today. Yep, I love what
Yeah.
your hairstylist did with your hair.
Oh
Actually,
yeah,
not
well,
used to seeing it so long.
no, that's right, folks. All the time that I've been on the show, it's always been short. But I decided I wanted my antennas back.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Oh God,
I
help
There
like
you
us.
the
go.
color too. That's really cute.
We're in trouble now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now let me hair down.
Woo! Let it
Mhm.
all
I'm
hang
actually
out,
Woo-hoo.
I'm actually going to Avatar on Monday because we're going to the big chair cinema. A couple of other girls are taking Colleen and I. I said, "Oh, I've got blue hair to go and watch my Avatar buddies."
Oh, that's
Mhm.
great.
Yep.
That's cute. I love it. Yes, it looks amazing. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
you
just
look
thought
great.
I'll pop in and have a fun chat, and then you can finish off and with the rest of the crew. And thank you all for your gifts and talents, everybody, because
Yeah.
our cells are being activated and we're going to be having so much fun. So
That's right.
it's amazing. Like we've been hanging in here for so long, all us kindred spirits,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and my cells are excited.
Be good
Yeah.
to
Jules, you're
yourself.
always excited.
TLLF.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, my cells are excited. Well, when I'm sharing in publicly, when I'm doing my stuff publicly, my whole body just tingles because I'm doing what I love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You are. Yep. And
Yeah.
it shows. It shows in everything you do, everything you say, um, all the words you choose, how you are with your family, your community. You're just you're so much more involved in everything now than it seems like you
Yes.
ever have been. So congratulations to you and thank you for your gifts and talents and thank you for sharing who you are with others.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
just had a little conversation with a young mother. Her baby's only 8 weeks old, and I thought, now, how do I bring up the subject? And I just started, and she was able to comprehend quite a bit of the stuff. And when I knew that it was not the right thing, I said, righto, it's time to leave.
Mhm.
She'd got enough. She'd got enough. So that was enough, I had to say. So, you can read the signs and symbols.
Mhm.
So I think they're about to cut the cake, so I've got to go outside and
Okay.
cut
All
the
right.
cake.
right.
Enjoy some cake.
Okay.
Have a good day, Julie.
right.
Enjoy.
Thanks for
Enjoy,
popping in,
Julie.
Jules.
That's all right.
Love
Thank
you.
you. Love yous all. Bye.
Love you too.
Love
Yep.
you.
You too.
Bye
Later.
bye. She's
Too
a
cool.
Always
sweetheart.
nice seeing her.
Yeah, 2.5
Yeah,
years ago, I sent her this thing that showed a ring of fire, and it showed all these kindred spirits going in a ring around the fire. And I said, thank you for your leadership, because she was showing me some things. She was, oh, don't follow me. I am not a leader. Jules leads no one. We're
Just
all,
Jules.
and here we are 2.5 years later, she's standing up there in front of a podium saying, people, get
Yeah.
busy. So she has completely expanded her,
Mhm.
but she still doesn't see herself as leader, but what she is a spokesperson for sharing her story.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
she
just being
steps
herself.
Yep.
Yeah.
puts
Yeah.
herself out there,
Mm-hmm.
just being herself, and so that is
Yep.
leadership. That's
Yep.
what
It is
she and I-
leadership. Yep.
we play with words, but
Mhm.
she definitely is, and
She
has
leads
made
by
a significant.
example.
Yes.
Yeah,
She
Yeah.
leads
Yeah.
by
and
example.
storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
And
storytelling
yeah.
costumes. Yeah,
Yep.
very unique way of doing
She's
it. Hi, Mary
authentic.
Wins.
Yeah. Authentic and
Hi,
true.
Mary.
to
Speak of a
herself.
kindred sister.
Yeah. Mary Wins. Good to have you with us.
All right. So can we talk about? We've covered soul groups and soul families, kindred connections in the afterlife, guides in the spirit life. Let's talk a little bit about this. Now, look, this has been something I've had a hard time with too, because it's like overdone. It's so blown in out of proportion sometimes that it drives me nuts. But there are these twin soul connections, soulmate connections, and what they call twin flames. I don't even want to use the word twin flame, but the soul, you can a soul be split? Can a soul share two different bodies? Can part of a soul be in one body and another part of a soul be in another body? And can you incarnate in the same time here
I
on
think
this
so.
planet?
Yeah.
I
Most
think
definitely. Yep.
so. Because I've like I always point out, I've moved internationally 8 times in my life, and in every country I've lived in, I've always met
Well,
people that reminded me like the spitting image, the same voice, the same mannerisms as somebody I would know, like in, for example, the United States. So,
Wow.
it's and the reason for that is that the matrix or whatever organizing principle there is coordinating all these different souls or soul groups decided to incarnate this person on 2 different continents because there's very little likelihood that these 2 people would connect. But of course, you can't take into account the fact that somebody like a third observer like myself will pick up on this and say, hey, this person from the United States is the exact spitting image of this person from Czech Republic.
uh-huh.
I mean, uh,
And
Let
that
me
well, he does have a unique view on this because he's been in
Yeah.
so many different areas. So that's
Yeah.
fascinating to me.
Yep.
yeah.
Yes, it
Uh-huh.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read this definition here of what is a soulmate, and let the panel hear this and the folks in the chat room, and then we'll weigh in on this. Soulmates culture would have us believe that a soulmate is the perfect romantic partner. While it's true that soulmates can make the best partners, the pairing isn't necessarily intimate, romantic, or sexual in nature. Soulmates can play any role in your life, including family members, colleagues, schoolmates, neighbors, strangers, and yes, lovers.
Well,
A
that's
soulmate is a person whose soul has a strong connection to your soul. Soulmate connections can be described in one of 3 ways: soul families, soul groups, what we just talked about, and what New Age spirituality calls twin flames. These groups are like branches in a very large tree. The tree is source or spirit, and we are all part of it, which means your soulmates are actually you at a higher vibration.
Mm-hmm.
While in human form, we resonate more strongly with souls who are on the same branch of our tree due to our similarities and shared backgrounds. But in truth, we are all soulmates. But those souls who are closest to us and evoke the strongest soul memories and feelings and emotions and so forth are our true soul mates. We may even have been mated to them in a past life, even if we're not lovers or romantically involved in this life.
You bring up an interesting point. Like, why would somebody want to get sexual with somebody who's essentially himself? Like, how many people find like a marital partner?
Leave it to you, Delaware.
I mean, yeah.
I guess you've never heard of tantra, have you?
It's almost like a pornological thing, It's
Well, that's because you're seeing it as a but put to you this way. They're
look
usually
at
opposite
how many
energies, Dalibor.
I know, but how many married couples do you know that where they look like each other? They don't. They never do.
Oh, yes, they do.
I think like attracts
A
like.
lot of people do resemble their pets.
Yeah.
I've heard it said. And you notice that
Dalibor, their human women and men partners do end up looking like each other over time. I've seen it many, many, many times, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean they have the same DNA traits. It's the energy that we have with one another. Like my soulmate or my twin has more one type of energy, and I have more of another type of energy. Together, we balance each other out. And we can switch those roles in different incarnations. So in one incarnation, my partner might be more male, I might be more female. In another incarnation, we're more like sisters or brothers. Okay? So there's the energy differences, but a soulmate, like it says, it doesn't have to be a sexual partner.
Well,
or a husband or a wife.
It's intimate as it is, and as such, it's kind of like a very, very strange relationship. Because let's put this in a non-sexual way. Let's say that you are able to incarnate yourself as like the surgeon operating on your own body. Could you pull that off? Wouldn't that feel kind of icky? Could you perform open heart surgery on yourself if you could somehow like cut out the pain, but still maintain control to the extent that you were able to like do all the things, like reattach the aorta, whatever, would you be able to do open heart surgery on yourself? I would argue that that's even more intimate than a sexual relationship.
That's fascinating. Yeah. Well,
I agree.
A connection is a connection. Yeah. Yeah, I think needing to put labels takes away some of the joy.
Exactly.
Sometimes we just need to enjoy our connections without needing to put it into a perfect box. Yeah.
No, he's right.
Connection's a connection.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And that's why we're doing this tonight, because there's so much of this hype out. I mean, I don't mean to say it negatively like that. There's just so much out there.
So many perceptions
that people get bombarded by these things and get sucked into certain things, and that's why we're just putting it on the table.
We're just kind of addressing all of the.
Now this is here's twin flame. Okay, now it's very much like a soulmate, but yet there's differences. It's more intense. That's what they're saying about a twin flame. A twin flame is a very special soulmate connection. You share the same immediate oversoul. You understand? We said everybody shares the same oversoul earlier. If you're in the same soul group, you're all sharing the same oversoul. But this is a deeper level of sharing. In order to create polarity, consciousness on 3D Earth, your oversoul chose two separate expressions of itself. One male, divine masculine, and the other female, divine feminine. Each perfectly balanced and complementary to the other. The two soul aspects may incarnate together, or one may remain on the other side, next dimensional level, while the other descends into this level of consciousness. But sometimes they show up together. You and your twin flame are perfectly complementary, like two sides of the same coin. These two individuals possessing the same soul are intuitively aware of each other and spend a lifetime looking for each other. Okay? It can be a very intense relationship. And it doesn't have to be male versus female. You could have two females, one has more masculine, one has more feminine. You could have two males, same thing. It's how the energy is balanced. And what they do is when they come together in this lifetime, if they do come together in the same lifetime, it could be a romantic relationship, or they could be on opposite sides of the planet. The point is that they bring that energy and balance into the relationship.
Yeah,
And
but
it's through that balance that
that
they teach each other and help each other expand and grow. Go ahead.
but that kind of reeks of enforced monogamy, which is what all the established religions teach. They teach monogamy, one man, one woman. They stay together forever. Just like parakeets or whatever. But in practice, in modern society, it doesn't work out that way. It's more like serial monogamy,
Well,
where
some people view the twin flame relationship like that, and that's what we're trying to say here tonight. Is that's not the true meaning of that's been what's been twisted into reality these days. It wasn't the concept of it was about shared soul, shared experiences through different energies to
Mhm,
create the masculine and feminine balance. There's times in my life where I have lacked that structure that we talked about last week that the masculine, divine masculine brings into the equation,
mhm.
into the situation, the focus, the structure,
But that's
and the
social.
ability to make decisions. But I let my emotional side, my compassionate side, my divine feminine side pull me off balance all the time. So meeting someone who is a mate to me or my other half of my soul, my twin, has enabled me to tap into those energies that I haven't been able to tap into before. So it's balanced me out. And so now I have a really nice blend of the
Mhm.
masculine and feminine energy. And so that's why that connection is so important in this lifetime. Other lifetimes, I may not have been with this person at all, or I could have been in a different type of soulmate relationship or a kindred spirit relationship. So that's what they're trying to say. Brian, do you have any thoughts on that?
Uh, well, I do know we have more than one twin flame, and
Hmm.
twin flame. The definition of that is actually sewn from the same fabric, which means you're part of a fractal spirit.
Uh
So
huh.
you can
Right.
have several twin flames, just like you said. Whether you how you interact with these twin flames throughout your life, just depends on the situation or the agreement that you have with that person before you came here.
Mhm, mhm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, totally. But yeah, the marriage thing is just the social aspect of this, the legal aspect, I would say, of that. It's
Hmm.
Yes,
like the codified. Yeah.
Uh huh.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Laura, you're muted.
Wow, that's a first. Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
You know what
Yeah,
it
you
is?
were
I
muted
don't like
before,
to
yeah.
take a sip or do anything to cause any noise. So that's why I did
Exactly.
that. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's why that happened.
Hmm.
All right, all right. So Lucky Stone says, even if we are split apart in life, we rejoin in the afterlife. So
Hmm.
really, you have no
Yep.
need to find your other half since you will always reunite eventually. That
Yeah.
is true. But if you do
Yes.
find and you do reunite, then you get the benefit of the both here and now
Correct.
Right.
instead of, well,
Yep.
Hmm.
eventually. But you see what I'm saying. You got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
True.
Yep. Yeah, they
Wow.
say that it's rare that the two will incarnate in the same lifetime or have any interaction with
Or
one
that you
another.
would even meet.
Hmm.
That's the rarity of it.
Very that particular relationship.
Recognize
Now, soulmates are like a dime a dozen. I mean, You can
Yeah.
run into 5 or 6 people in your life
Sure.
or more
Mhm.
that you have that soulmate connection with because you recognize them from another life, or
Mhm.
you recognize the
Yeah,
energy.
but
Well, I
twin
know
soul
you.
is different. It is a different.
Yeah,
It's a
very
different
different and quite
animal, so
unique.
to speak. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're coming to the end of an hour and a half
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Any final
Yep.
thoughts? How about you, Grandpa Brian? You've been engaging very well tonight. So, any final thoughts?
Doug, just clear your mind when you meditate. That is the most important thing to do. I haven't been able to find a lot of time here lately to meditate because it seems like I've been, as soon as I get home from work, shower, walk out the door, that is when I started doing my meditation. 5 minutes for all that water, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
all relaxed because that hot water is just helping me
Cleaning your
relax.
aura. Yeah, taking all the
Exactly.
negativity off you from the
And,
day.
and that's a good time to meditate, and
Mhm.
your mind actually really opens up then.
Mm-hmm. And I
Or
like the idea of sitting at the
chop some
fire. Yeah,
chop some
chop
wood.
the. Yep, build a fire, scry in that fire, watch it. That's what we were doing before we watched television. So
Well,
get
Yeah.
back to the basics.
Next
Go ahead.
week, before Max Vision hightails it out of here, because this is Friday night and he's
Yes.
feeling good, so he
Mhm.
might be
Yep.
getting a class tonight. Next week, and I want to send an invitation to you, Max. Next week, if you're around, because it is December 23rd, creative controlled thinking, changing how you think about things and driving out negativity using visualization, which is something that I'm really good at doing, and so is Lori. She could even drive away sickness just by simply saying, I feel something coming on. Oh, no, 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 no. And she visualizes
Mhm,
a big
mhm.
ball of light and energy and just pushes that out and doesn't get sick. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So, but there are ways that remote viewing and visualization can help you drive things and help you transform thought to recreate something better for yourself, to take you out of a bad situation and into something that serves your purpose more effectively. So, we're going to be talking about that next week. And we'll send you an invitation, Max. And
Mhm.
anybody who would like to be in on that conversation, just let me know.
Mhm.
I'm sure Sophia will be back. We miss her tonight. She's out
Mhm.
ghost hunting tonight.
Hi, Sophie. Yeah,
Sophia
she's having
is out
fun.
there
It
having
should be
fun.
interesting.
Mhm.
It'll be interesting to hear what experiences she's had.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Hopefully, I
Well.
can find
Definitely.
out tomorrow night
Uh
because
huh.
we have our winter solstice party for all my relations tomorrow
Oh,
night. So,
great. Yeah.
Ah,
Awesome.
cool.
Yep. I think
Mhm.
she's
Very
at Camp
cool.
Chesterfield and they're doing an
Yeah.
investigation there.
oh,
She
okay.
also has a friend of
Yeah,
hers,
she's
Randy, that we met, a
Randy.
really nice guy.
Uh-huh.
He's going to come on the
hmm
show and do some chatting with us as well. But in my mind, anything, absolutely anything is possible.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
lucky. Absolutely lucky. I agree with you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's not
Hmm.
something that, as some people are, they're, this is what I meant when I said it's become an obsession with younger
Kind of polarized.
people
Mhm.
to search for my soulmate. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I've got to find my twin flame. And it's like,
It
It's
happens
it's
when
like
you're not
dramatic
searching. It
Yeah.
happens when you don't even
when you
expect it.
least expect it, and it just pops up, and it takes
Mhm.
you a while to figure out what's going on. And then when you do, it's
Right.
like, oh my God.
Right
it's the
on.
But it's
culture.
life
It's
changing.
it's the
Yeah.
culture. I mean, it's all these like you're inundated with like all these romantic comedies, and which
Right.
personally I feel is a
Yeah,
genre that should be
you're
done
stuck in
away with.
entertainment mode instead of going within. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. Class is on.
O-
Oh, great. Awesome,
Okay, John.
everybody. Yep.
All right, John.
Yep.
All right,
Sounds
everyone.
good. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else, Teresa? Any housekeeping or anything of that nature? I think we had a great
Not
discussion
that I can
tonight.
think of.
Yeah.
No, it's just
Yeah.
with now. I noticed that somebody said Kate. I think it was Chloe said I didn't realize Cajun Queen got her pantry back. Do you know what
Mm-hmm.
that's about, Brian? I didn't
No,
know
I
she
do not.
lost the pantry. I've never
I
heard anything like that.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything like that either.
Okay.
No. So I'll check with her. I did send Cajun Queen a message tonight So I'll check with her. But even if it's not the pantry, we could do another drive for
Yeah.
something else. So we'll still
Lucky.
have a drawing.
Yeah, Lucky Stone, thank you for that. Don't forget the thumbs up, everybody.
Thank
That would
you.
be greatly appreciated. Thank you for that. If you enjoy the content, you
Mhm.
like what we're doing and the direction that we're going in, please hit that thumbs up, share it out. We do this because we love it, not for any other reason. We don't make any
Yeah.
money on this. I've never
Yep.
received any money for doing the show that I can remember. If I did receive anything, it went right back into the show. So, yeah.
Yep.
Appreciate everybody watching. Really appreciate all of you in the chat. You are kindred spirits to me. We've been kind of all come together here over the years, and we've been doing this for quite some time, but there's a reason why we're all drawn together. So I am proud and honored, and
That's right.
I have so much love and respect for you guys. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for being here. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for being a part of it. And this is why we do what we do. And there's great
That's right.
satisfaction in it. Thank you so much, Delabor. Love you so much, brother. You are a
Yeah.
kindred spirit. Grandpa Brian, you're a kindred spirit as well. Teresa, you're the best. You're the sister from another mother. So love you so much. And that'll be it for tonight. We'll see you next week. Watch for the trailer, and everybody have a blessed weekend. Okay.
And keep
Yep.
sending those good intents to Lucky and his family.
There you
All right?
go.
Yep.
Much love
Love
to
you,
all.
Lucky.
Love
Bye-bye.
you guys.
Love you.
Bye now.
Bye
See
bye.
ya. Bye, Doug. Bye.